The diesel exhaust clawed at my throat like cheap perfume at a bad funeral. My grandmother's china rattled in the cabinet like it was having a nervous breakdown. But watching those stress fractures race through timber my great-grandfather had cut with his own hands, I wasn't shaking with rage anymore. I was calculating, cold, precise, lethal. What would you do if your HOA tried to steal your generational land right out from under you? Drop a comment and tell me if your neighborhood Karen is pulling this same garbage. Let me back up and show you exactly how this nightmare kicked off. My name is Connor Hale, and 3 months ago I was just a 52-year-old retired engineering contractor living peacefully on the 40-acre homestead my great-grandfather carved out of the woods in the 1920s. The property hugs Whispering Creek in what used to be quiet countryside, until Pinehurst Estates sprouted up around us like toxic mold on a perfectly good wall. The crown jewel? That bridge. Hand-hewn from local oak by my great-grandfather himself, spanning the creek and linking us to the only road in or out. For generations of Hales had crossed it to come home. Grandpa proposed to Grandma right in the middle. Dad taught me to fish off its railings. I carried my wife Sarah across it on our wedding day, and later our daughter Emily the same way as a newborn. The wood still smelled faintly of the linseed oil he used, and if you ran your fingers along the handrail you could feel every tool mark from his plane, like touching family history itself. Then Meredith Langston slithered into the neighborhood. At 48 she was the living embodiment of what happens when corporate law meets suburban dictatorship. Perfectly coiffed blonde hair that never moved in wind, designer suits for grocery runs, and that leather portfolio she carried like it held the nuclear codes. She'd made her fortune helping developers bulldoze family farms for strip malls. Now she'd set her sights on our quiet street. 6 months after moving in she'd clawed her way to HOA president. Her first decree? My century-old bridge was suddenly a substandard infrastructure hazard threatening property values, because apparently authentic craftsmanship is bad for business when you're secretly planning luxury condos. I'll never forget our first chat. She showed up at my door in a crisp white blazer, legal papers in one hand, fake smile dialed to 11. Mr. Hale, I'm simply here to help modernize your charming little property for the good of the community. My property was standing when this was still cow pasture, I shot back. Her voice went Arctic. Replace it with our approved concrete structure or face $500 daily fines. Bless your heart. Bless your heart, code for drop dead in Karen speak. What I didn't tell her was that 20 years in the Army Corps of Engineers had taught me every structure has weak points and every enemy has vulnerabilities if you gather enough data. When I refused, the cement truck parade began. Suddenly every construction project in the subdivision needed to route their 30-ton monsters directly over my bridge. Sorry pal, HOA-approved route. The drivers would shrug. These weren't little delivery trucks. These were diesel beasts that made the ancient oak scream like it was being waterboarded. Each pass left fresh stress fractures spreading like spiderwebs through timber that had survived world wars and hurricanes. The peaceful morning mist off Whispering Creek was now poisoned with concrete dust and exhaust that burned your lungs and coated everything in gray filth. 3 weeks into the assault, Meredith's brother-in-law, the city building inspector, showed up for an emergency safety evaluation. Funny how he found the bridge critically unsafe right after his sister-in-law's demolition campaign. Sorry, Mr. Hale, he said with all the sincerity of a used car salesman. Immediate danger to public safety. 30 days to demolish or we do it and bill you. That night I sat on the bridge listening to my grandfather clock chime midnight inside the house. The honeysuckle still smelled sweet, but diesel fumes lingered underneath like a death threat. As I traced the weathered handrail my great-grandfather had shaped, something crystallized. This wasn't about a bridge anymore. This was war. And Meredith had just handed me a timeline. 2 weeks into her truck campaign my daughter Emily announced her engagement. She wanted the reception in our backyard, the same spot where her grandparents celebrated their golden anniversary. Date set for the first Saturday in June, 60 guests, catered dinner overlooking the creek. I should have known Meredith wouldn't let a family celebration interrupt her cash grab. The morning of the wedding dawned perfect. Clear skies, gentle breeze carrying my wife's prize-winning roses. Emily looked radiant in her grandmother's pearl white lace dress as guests arrived around 4. The photographer was snapping precious family moments when I heard the first diesel engine rumble like distant thunder. "Please tell me that's not what I think it is," I muttered. But there it was, 6 cement mixers thundering down the road, timed perfectly to hit during the ceremony. It was like watching a military convoy invade a church picnic. "Dad, what's happening?" Emily grabbed my arm as the first truck's weight made the entire bridge shudder. The sound was like a freight train 6 feet away. Elderly Aunt Martha's champagne flute shattered on the deck. Uncle Robert's war medals rattled like wind chimes in a hurricane. The bridge swayed so violently that Great Aunt Helen, 93 pounds soaking wet, had to clutch the railing to keep from tumbling into the creek. My 86-year-old mother froze halfway across with her walker, knuckles white against the oak, terror in her eyes. "Everyone back to the house," I shouted over the roar. The photographer caught it all on video. The fear, the chaos, the diesel cloud swallowing my daughter's perfect day. As the last truck rumbled away, I spotted Meredith's silhouette in her kitchen window, coffee mug raised in what looked suspiciously like a toast. That's when I made my first real breakthrough. While helping shaken guests to their cars, I overheard 2 drivers talking. 6 runs in one day, serious overtime. Kensington Construction pays double for weekend emergency deliveries. Kensington Construction. Meredith owned 40%. The pieces clicked like a well-oiled trap. Back in the Army, we learned that following the money trail always leads to the enemy's soft underbelly. A quick search that night confirmed it. Meredith's emergency bridge replacement quote was $80,000 for a basic concrete span that just happened to meet her HOA guidelines. Meanwhile, the State Historical Society appraisal I'd quietly requested valued my bridge at $150,000 in historical worth. Excellent condition. So she damages it with her own trucks, then profits from the rebuild. Classic Karen move. Slash your tires, then sell you new ones at triple price. But documentation beats accusation every time. I started building my case like planning a bridge, methodically, with backup calculations for every assumption. First, emergency restraining order against further truck traffic. My lawyer presented timeline photos proving the bridge was stable before Meredith's parade. The temporary order was granted. No more trucks. Pending independent evaluation. Then I brought in Dr. Elena Vargas from State University's Civil Engineering Department. Her preliminary report was pure gold. Classic signs of recent overload stress, but original construction is remarkably sound. Someone built this to last centuries. By Saturday, I was feeling optimistic. Truck stopped. Professional proof in hand. Legal system working as designed. Sunday evening, my neighbor Jake knocked with a printout that spiked my blood pressure. "Connor, you gotta see what she's posting." The Facebook rant was vintage Meredith. Corporate speak hiding character assassination. Concerned neighbors, Mr. Hale's antiquated bridge has been deemed structurally unsound. His selfish refusal puts our entire community at risk. How many children must get hurt? 37 comments, 49 shares in 6 hours. Half the neighborhood now thought I was a public menace. Round 1 to Meredith. But the fight was just warming up. Monday morning brought worse news. She'd gotten my restraining order overturned by a golf buddy judge. Trucks were back, every 30 minutes from dawn to dusk. My coffee cups danced on the counter. Sarah started wearing noise-canceling headphones just to read the paper. Neighbors who used to wave now crossed the street. Anonymous county complaints piled up. Unlicensed bridge, noise violations, anti-development attitude. Wednesday brought the monster pumper that made the bridge sag 6 full inches. The ancient oak groaned like it was crying. The driver leaned out. "Sorry, Pops. Lady pays the bills, lady calls the shots." That night I couldn't sleep. 3 support beams now showed lightning bolt fractures. The handrail my great-grandfather carved was splitting. But insomnia breeds inspiration. Around 2 a.m., I remembered a key principle from my Army days. When facing superior firepower, don't charge the front, find the weak point. Meredith assumed newer meant legally stronger. Thursday I drove to the county courthouse and requested the original 1923 survey. The clerk, who'd known my grandfather, pulled the leather-bound ledger with a smile. "Your great-grandfather was forward-thinking." The language was crystal. Perpetual right of passage via existing timber span, predating the HOA easement by 60 years. Grandfather rights, existing structures protected from later zoning changes. The HOA's authority over my bridge had all the legal weight of a snowball in hell. Friday I brought in local historian Elizabeth Morrison. She ran her hands along the mortise and tenon joints. Museum quality. This qualifies for historic designation. Any demolition now required environmental studies, public hearings, and enough red tape to choke an elephant. Sunday afternoon I called an emergency meeting with the other 4 HOA board members at Jake's house. Apple pie atmosphere, no Meredith. I spread the 1923 survey like battle plans. What Meredith's been telling you about HOA authority? It could land this board in serious legal trouble. Board member Patricia went pale. Marcus, are you saying we've been operating outside our legal bounds? I'm saying you've been played. By Monday 3 board members quietly distanced themselves from her crusade. Instead of backing off, Meredith doubled down. Tuesday evening's emergency HOA meeting was standing room only. She'd packed the room with supporters and printed flyers showing structurally compromised bridges. None of them mine. We face a situation that threatens the safety and property values of our entire community, she announced from the podium like she was addressing Congress. Her PowerPoint was a masterpiece of manipulation. She declared my property a commercial operation, because delivery trucks occasionally crossed, then hit me with retroactive HOA fees totaling $75,000. The HOA lien process empowers us to force sale of non-compliant properties. The crowd murmured approval like sheep. I sat in the back feeling like Daniel in the lion's den. When public comment opened I stood. I'd like to address the board. Meredith's smile could cut glass. Surely this is a legal matter now, Mr. Hale. Oh, I plan to use my attorney. But first, something fascinating I discovered. I connected my laptop. First slide, the 1923 survey blown up huge. This predates your HOA by 60 years, grandfather writes. The room went quiet. Second slide. Historic designation report. Demolition now requires public hearings. Third slide. Architectural plans for luxury condos filed by Langston Development Company 6 months before Meredith moved in. Lot numbers matching my property exactly. Interesting coincidence, isn't it? Fourth slide. Bank loans using my land as collateral. Someone's been planning this hostile takeover for 2 years. The trucks, the bogus inspections, the manufactured crisis. It's all theater for forced sale. Silence so thick you could hear worldviews cracking. Meredith stammered. That's completely irrelevant. Patricia cut her off. Did you disclose these development plans when you joined the board? Jake stood. I move for an emergency vote of no confidence. Seconded instantly. Within 10 minutes Meredith Langston was no longer president of anything except explaining to her lawyer why her perfectly orchestrated land grab had just exploded in her face. But cornered Karens don't surrender. They get desperate. 3 days later my phone rang, courthouse clerk Mrs. Henderson, voice trembling with excitement. Connor, get down here. I found something that changes everything. In the basement she spread a hand-drawn 1919 map. Original riparian boundary for your great-grandfather's property. Your family owns water rights to the entire creek system. Usage, development, even Environmental Protection Authority. Every home in Pinehurst had been sold promising creek access. The HOA had collected 15 years of maintenance fees for rights they never owned. Fraudulent deeds. Invalid covenants. The entire subdivision was built on lies. My lawyer's eyes lit up when I showed him. Legal dynamite. You could shut off water access to every property tomorrow. But I didn't want to punish innocent neighbors. I wanted justice for the guilty. Use it as leverage, I said. Protect the bridge. Expose the corruption. We spent 3 weeks building an airtight case. Trail cameras, duplicate documents, rehearsed testimony, media lined up. We let Meredith think she still had moves while she dug her own grave. Her response was swift and unhinged. Within 48 hours she filed 3 lawsuits, then escalated to outright sabotage. Trail cam footage caught her loyal board member loosening bolts and drilling holes at 2:30 a.m. to create the emergency she needed. The irony was delicious. They were literally making the bridge dangerous to prove it was dangerous. Then the smear campaign. Anonymous blogs calling me an unstable veteran who threatened children. Fake accounts questioning my military record. Pressure on my wife's bank job. Friday morning I woke to heavy machinery at the bridge. County demolition crew with forged emergency orders. Meredith watched from her Mercedes 3 blocks away. We caught it all on camera. Sheriff, real inspectors, and Channel 7 News arrived in time to film her meltdown. The excavator operator shut down when he realized he was on live TV trying to destroy a steel-reinforced historic bridge with fake permits. "Lady, I'm not going to jail for this," Meredith screamed. "Just tear it down. I'm paying you." Deputy Rodriguez. "Ma'am, we have a warrant for forged documents." By dawn, Meredith was in handcuffs on live television. The town hall meeting 6 hours later was standing room only. I projected the 1919 water rights map, condo plans, sabotage footage, and bank records. County attorney confirmed 15 years of fraudulent HOA fees. Environmental inspector added federal wetland violations. Sheriff added arrest warrant for the midnight demolition attempt. The room erupted. Meredith was cuffed a second time. The board voted unanimously to apologize, drop all actions, and cooperate with the investigation. 6 months later, Meredith is serving 18 months for fraud, conspiracy, and environmental crimes. Her law license is gone. Her company bankrupt. The HOA dissolved and reformed with real transparency. My bridge is now a National Historic Landmark. I started a scholarship fund from her settlement money. The creek restoration project became a statewide model. Today I sit on that same bridge watching my grandson learn to fish from the railings where his great-great-grandfather once cast his line. The morning mist rises clean again. No diesel stench, just honeysuckle and justice. Sometimes the system that lets one Karen run wild for so long is the real villain, but ordinary people with patience, documentation, and the truth can still win. So tell me, was Meredith the monster? Or was it the HOA rules that gave her the power to play God? Drop your answer below. Was she wrong, or was the whole damn system? You decide.